Hey there, everybody, you did it. You signed on and you downloaded this video, and I hope with all my might that you're going to latch onto this. You're going to listen to this, watch it, and see it for what it's worth. I'm not a consultant. I am a normal, real guy who's just had a lot of experience doing this stuff, and I'm coming to you. My office is kind of echoey. It's kind of new, so I don't have all my amenities in it, so you'll hear my voice kind of echoing. So I'm going to just move myself over here so you can see. I'm going to go through this PowerPoint, and I'm going to, as I switch slides, I'm going to talk through them, and hopefully I'm going to intrigue the pants off of you, because I think I have some information that you cannot live without in your business. So again, I'm Tom Morgan. I'm going to streamline your market, and let's dig into this. Let's start peeling it back. So, what is this lean stuff, and why do I want to use it? Who uses stuff like this? You might say, well, I'm a smaller business. I'm not playing with the big boys. Well, you know what? The big boys do use this. So if it's good for the big boys, it's good for smaller folks too. But you can see companies like Amazon, Toyota, John Deere, Intel, Caterpillar, LabCorp. I mean, and there's just oodles and oodles and oodles of more folks that are using this. So these folks use it, and that's how they get big, is because they use this stuff. So a small business, you're like, well, I don't want to grow into be an Amazon. I don't want to grow into be a Toyota or an Intel. But you do want to be successful. These companies are successful. They're using this stuff, and you can't live without this stuff. So the whole lean thing, it kind of goes against conventional wisdom, because for like the last 75 to 100 years, there's been this manufacturing inertia of trying to push the rock up the hill. How much sense does that make? So it kind of goes against conventional wisdom, because again, conventional wisdom says, let's push the rock up the hill. We're going to have to start tapping into this, because you guys have the power. So I'm going to be moving my little video around here a little bit. The whole thing of just cutting costs to try and make a better bottom dollar, just that in and of itself isn't what's working. Wright Associates surveyed over 1,200 U.S. companies. 75% of them says they've downsized in the past 5 years. I mean, like 33% of them laid off at least 500 people. And this is what they found when they tried those different cost-cutting measures. They said that 75% found no improvement in their financial performance. And 67% said that they saw no improvement in productivity. So we have to remember, what got us here is not going to be what gets us to the future. So we're going to obviously have to do some different things for cost-cutting measures. We have to be smart about it. So Albert Einstein said there's new thinking required. He said to do the same thing over and over and expect different results, it's insanity. So we got to do things different. We just have to. And we don't want to do it just for the sake of saying we want to be different. We want to be different because it takes this different set of thinking to achieve these new results. So you might see or ask yourself some of these questions. It said, if you were to ask your employees if they feel overworked, or do you feel overworked? Do you feel like you're under pressure to produce more? Whether it's make widgets, whether it's sell clothes, fix cars, in an office to push more paperwork? Do you feel like you're under pressure to produce more? And do the priorities change daily? They do at my day job. Do you ever have the feeling that management or people above you, even people below you, that they don't listen? And do you feel like there might be a lack of teamwork? If you can answer yes to all these, lean is for you. So there's a lot of challenges to change, and we all have a routine. We all have our routines at home. We have our routines business, even in our hobbies. But a lot of times, I know my experience in trying to roll this out to different places that I've worked, you get the same kind of feedback. You hear, well, you don't understand. You don't understand. We're different. Or you hear, well, this whole lean transformation thing, it's not applicable to us. We're immune from that. Or you hear that lean transformation is only applicable to manufacturing. Like, well, Toyota, they manufacture cars. Intel, they make computers. LabCorp, they make testing stuff. So it's only applicable to stuff that's manufactured. That is incorrect. And then, with that, you have just concrete heads, people that are just hard-headed, like, we're not going to change. We've been doing this forever like this. This is the way we always used to do it. I hate that statement. As Albert Einstein said, that way of thinking and expecting new results, insanity. So we don't want to hear that. So if you look at this little time or this little range thing that I have down below here, there's always going to be about, in any given group, there's about 10 to 15% that are just going to be unwilling to change. They are not going to get on board no matter what, because it goes totally outside of their comfort zone. But there's a big group. There's a big group in the middle, and they're not totally committed. They're a little fearful of change, but they can be influenced. They can be influenced with some education, with some cultural change, and that's what we want to implement. We want to get this group of people, because we can massage them. We can get that cultural change in place and shift them over to this other side here, to the 10 to 15% that are just enthusiastic. They adapt early to change. They love change. They love being part of something new. And that's where we want to try and move this group. And every now and then you can snag a concrete head and move them too. But that middle group, that's our core group that we really want to move forward. And it says, there's 1,001 reasons not to do this, but it's a new way of business, and it's the way to survive and grow. So when we go through this, we're going to see about lean. What is it? What it's not? What can it do for us? Why in the world would we want to do this? What's it going to do to our customers? What's it going to do to our suppliers? And then is there any other efficiency program that we can use? And what do I need to do to make this thing happen? Here's the big one. How am I supposed to do this with everything else that I got to do? I mean, really? And then there's even, those people that are on the other side that they don't want to change for nothing. They're like, you know what? How can I stop this trend? Because I don't want to be a part of it. So, it doesn't matter if you own your company, if you're, in any type of management below the company, all the way down to the lower level. This is amazing transformational information that can be used anywhere in the org chart. So in saying all this whole lean transformation, just like building a house, when you build a house, you don't start building the walls first. No, you clear the land, you start preparing the land, you start preparing for the foundation to be laid to build a house, whether you're building a slab or you got a foundation with the footings and all the brickwork and everything. So my experience through lean transformation, and I will tell you, I have been taught by a lean mentor. He's now retired. He's an amazing man, Steve Roberts. And he was a consultant, but I've learned so much from him, and he's a unique consultant because he doesn't break the bank. Most consultant companies, they will charge you tens of thousands of dollars. I can't do that. I can't justifiably do that. I just don't see that people need to be charged tens of thousands of dollars to do this. So I digress. I'm going back to this whole foundation of lean, because I want you guys to know this. When you build the foundation, the first thing on the foundation, if anybody's doing lean right and starting this cultural change, you have to start with 5S. 5S is a Japanese kind of a coined term. It's The 5 S's stand for 5 different Japanese words. Translated into English, they are sort, set in order, shine, standardize, and sustain. And this is the foundation of change. When you sort things, it's like you walk into a room. Let's say you walk into, it could be your bedroom, and or your garage. There's all sorts of tools. There's stuff you've been holding on to forever for that just in case. You go through and you sort out the things that you don't need on a daily basis. You want to keep in your garage what you use for your lawn care, what you use to fix your cars, and maybe for some small repairs in your house. But you don't want to keep all this other junk just in case. So you sort through everything that you don't need, get all that stuff out, so then all you're left with is what you do need. So then once you've sorted all that stuff out, what you have left, you set it in order. Say, okay, so I need these tools. I'm going to put them here. I need these instruction manuals, the service manuals. I'm going to put them here. I need my oils for my lawnmower and car and garden tractor. I need those right here. So you start setting things in order. And then you clean it all up. You make it look like it's neat and clean and supposed to be there. And then you standardize that. You make this, say, you know what, I'm drawing a line. This is the way it's going to be. This is where we're going to start going forward. And then you sustain that. You keep this thing going. It's not just like the flavor of the week. We're just doing this for this week, and now we're going to go on to some new efficiency program or some new fad next week. So once you get into that sustain mode, then you are starting a cultural change. You're starting to change your teamwork, starting to change that way of thinking, and you sustain it. So once you get a solid 5S program in place, as you're doing this and you go through the lesson of 5S and what I'm showing you right here, you really need to start opening your eyes and kind of a new focus to what the 7 wastes are. You might have heard them called different acronyms like Tim Wood, Wimpy, downtime, different things like that. Maybe some programs talk about an 8 waste. We're going to go with the 7 waste here, and it kind of goes with the acronym Tim Woody, if you can remember that name. And what that stands for is in any process you want to look for these is transporting, inventory, motion, waiting, overprocessing, overproduction, defects, and intellectual disregard. So in a lot of processes, if not all processes, there are these types of waste. And you say, well, I don't have any transporting waste in my process. I work in an office. But if you have to go back and forth from your desk to the printer, or you have to go from the printer somewhere else to get paper to stock the printer, you're transporting. You're having to transport that paper from maybe a supply closet all the way back and forth to the printer. Inventory, let's say you worked in a little auto repair service station, and you keep 50 oil filters of a specific kind, just in case, because you feel like you're going to need 50 of them in the next day. Nobody needs 50 oil filters in a day, but a lot of times we might create excessive inventory for several different reasons. And we have to, it's a waste, because now you've spent all that money on inventory and it's not got any instant ROI on it. Another one is motion. Maybe if you worked in some sort of, we'll just say manufacturing, and you have to grab a screwdriver, and then you have to grab a wrench, and then you have to go over here and adjust an air dial on something, and then you have to move this. So and you have to walk over here to get this widget. You have to walk over there to get that widget. That's wasted motion. Waiting. So sometimes in any given process, you have to sit there and you have to wait. And time is money. Money's time, right? And so we're waiting. And the next one is over processing. So maybe let's talk about woodworking. So you have to, when you buy boards, they have print on it from the mill. So you're sanding, trying to get that ink off because you wouldn't want to sell a piece of furniture or something handcrafted and it still has the ink from the mill on it. So you're sanding. That's over processing. There's ways you can mitigate that and make that go away much faster. Overproduction. So let's say you had to make copies for some business, and you said, well, I know that they use these copies. They get about 50 of them a week. So let's see, 50 a week, there's 4 weeks in a month. I'm just going to go ahead and print 200 copies of these right now. And so you print 200 copies, you've overproduced for what the current need is. And you say, wait, Tom, but I'm going to go through 200. But let's say after you print the first 50, so that satisfies this week's orders. Next week, there's a change in that copy. You have 150 non-quality copies. That's why overproduction can really bite you in the tail. So then defects. Nobody, every time we create a defect, that's costs money, it costs time. For if we had to scrap the material, the time that it took to do it, and we didn't get paid for it, then we have to redo it. So that's a waste. Another one that is so big, so important, and so many managers and positions of leadership overlook this one is intellectual disregard. There's a lot of brilliant people in this world, and safe to say that everybody has some sort of intellect. If they can get themselves out of bed in the morning, they can get themselves to work. They have a mind that can be tapped into. And so many times I've seen employees looked at as, hey, you're just a widget maker. And we don't let them have any buy-in. We don't let them have any say-so. And we have really, really wasted the capacity and intellect of that person. So these are all the different kinds of waste that can be identified in the process. And actually, when we think about it, if we have these wastes in the process, our customer, no matter what we're selling, our customer is not paying for any of these wastes. They don't care if it takes you 50 extra steps to do something. It's not their problem if you have to make something 3 times before you make it right. It is not their problem if you can't get them a product faster because you didn't listen to your new employee's great idea on how to better efficiency. So if we can not just minimize these wastes, but if we can get those wastes out of our process, we are going a long way and we're getting there faster. So another tool. So let's see. So far we've covered 5S. We've got the foundation with 5S. Then we've looked at the 7 wastes. Now we're going to broaden our scope a little bit further, and we're going to talk about value-added steps in our process. So there's a process for everything. There's a process of washing dishes. There's a process of making peanut butter jelly sandwich. There's a process of getting your oil change. There's a process of getting an airline ticket, going on vacation. And there's definitely processes in our work. So, but you want to capitalize on the value-added activities in those processes, what the customer is willing to pay for. So I'm telling you this information because a consultant will charge you premium dollars to know this, and it should not be an extreme dollarized information to know this, because you're missing out. You're missing out. I want to bring this to you so that you know, and you know that it works from a real guy. So value-added activity. You have to ask yourself this question, the 3-point test. Is it something, whatever I'm doing in my process, is it something the customer wants and they're willing to pay for? Okay. The next thing is, does the activity that I'm doing, does it change form, fit, or function of the paper, the wood, the widget that I'm doing? Does it change it like in progressive steps to get to the end result? And do you do it only once? So the customer wants it. Does it change form, fit, or function? And do you do it only once? If it fails any of those 3, it is non-value added activity, and you want to exploit that, get rid of it, and not do that. Now, there's some necessary evils. I get that. There's caveats to every situation. But I'm telling you, if it fails any one of these tests, it is non-value added activity. If it passes all these, it's value added activity, and you need to do it and do more of it. So studies have shown that about 75% of what we do in any given process is non-value added activity. So that should be an eye opener right there. If you can take 75% of the productivity out of your day and say, gosh, I'm not even getting paid for that. And if you could shift the scale from the 25% of value added activity from the 75% of non-value added activity, the scales would definitely change, and so would your pocketbook. So now with these three big tools, 5S, identifying the 7 wastes, the value added test, you say, well, shoot, that's 3 things. How does this not fail? I mean, I guess it's the golden ticket, right? Well, it can fail because we don't establish a sense of urgency. There's some people that say, well, you know what? I'm going to do this a couple years down the road from now when we get a little more settled in our business. No, you start right now. Start right now, because there's great things that could happen next week, next month, if you start right now. So you're just missing dollars. You're missing dollars. You're missing sanity. You're lessening your stress in your business if you start right now. So another reason it could fail is not having a leadership coalition. So you can't just say that the man at the bottom of the totem pole in the leadership chain can use this information and create you a successful business. It has to start from the top, and it has to be fluid through the whole organization for this to work. It has to be a cultural change around the organization. So another reason it can fail is not creating a vision. So if you say, let's see, I think we want to do good. I think we want to make some money. No, you have to have a clear vision. You have to be focused and lay these things out and say, we're going to do this, 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 and this. And then start that cultural change, get the buy-in, move that middle group. Remember that we talked about earlier. Take that middle group and move them over and implement these changes. Another big one is not removing the obstacles to the vision. So we can have a vision. We can have a vision, but then we aren't doing anything to get rid of those obstacles that are in the way. Another one is under communicating by a factor of 10. So the CEO or the owner of a business can't just have this vision and expect the whole organization to be on board if we don't communicate. And everybody has to be on the same page. We have to read out of the same book, the same page, the same sentence, the same words, the same, and start speaking the same language, if you will, the business language, so that everybody's on board and has an understanding and just a good understanding of why we're doing this. And not creating short-term wins, that's a ginormous one. So there, in any change, there's always that low-hanging fruit that you can just, it's a quick win. And sometimes we just want to go so big and so grandiose so that we miss the short-term wins. And we start feeling defeated right away. So if you don't grab that low-hanging fruit first, that low-hanging fruit, that's what builds confidence. That's what says, yes, we did something right. This is doable. That's what starts encouraging people. That's where you get buy-in. That's where you get more beef and power into this cultural change by grabbing hold of those short-term wins. Another big reason why transformations fail is because we declare victory too soon. Just because we grab some low-hanging fruit doesn't mean we can stop this whole program and having not established a cultural change. And when we say we win just by grabbing that one piece of low-hanging fruit, that one quick little win, it's going to be over and somebody's going to not be very inclined to buy into it the next time. So the next thing is kind of like a wrap-up of all this is not anchoring the changes into the culture. So if we just do this like once a quarter and we say that we're going to have a little lean session, maybe one day a week, or one day in a week, in a month, in a quarter. You're wasting your time, you're wasting your people's time, and your business is worth more than that. I want you to succeed. So another thing, once we've incorporated many of these tools, and we're starting that cultural change, you're going to hear another word. It's called Kaizen. Kaizen is a Japanese term for continuous improvement. So we're always continuous improvement's not a destination; it's a journey. We can never think that we've gotten to point X and we're done. No, once we get to a temporary and interim point X, then we say, okay, how do we improve upon that? Because now we've learned a lot more. Our cultural change has been implemented. It's gotten adapted. And now we're going to grow from there. So one of the ways to do that is have a Kaizen event, a continuous improvement event, and have these regularly. So what you do is you see where it says start here. You map things out the way they currently are. What are my metrics? What are all my numbers? What's my head count? What am I producing? What's my delivery time? What's my quality? All these things. And then that moves into measure. You start saying, okay, it's taken us X amount of time to make this widget. It takes this many days to ship it. It takes this many days to get an order in. It takes this many days to get paid. And then you ask yourself, excuse me, once you have all these metrics, you say, well, what's value added in all of this? What's non-value added in all of this? And you take out that non-value added activity. Then you look at it and you say, hey, how's my 5S program look? Do I have everything I need? Is it all in order? Can I tell what's not normal, what's out of place? And then you start looking at your 7 wastes and you say, oh, I do have too much motion in here. I have over processing. I have too much inventory. I'm not really tapping into the intellect of my people yet. So you start looking into that non-value added activity. And then where you have your value added activity, you want to keep flowing that. You want to do more of that value added activity and train your people, train your teams, your leadership teams, your production teams, your admin teams, to roll these things out. Hey, this is what's working. This is what we're going to keep doing. We're going to do more of this. So get a rhythm, get a trend going, and then measure again. Say, okay, now how have my metrics changed? And when you realize that the metrics have changed and you have even some of those small wins and that low-hanging fruit, celebrate the accomplishments, okay? Root your team on. Give them, that builds up the intellectual part of your team. It encourages the intellectual part of your team to just more ideas to come out, because we want to celebrate those wins, right? And when you have winners on your team, people that help you win, you're going to win even more. And then it's just a continuous circle, right? We're continually improving. So in this whole lean transformation thing, maybe you've heard it called different things. You've heard lean manufacturing, total quality, Six Sigma, different things, agile manufacturing, lead time reduction. But you know what? It doesn't matter what you call it, as long as you do it. You just got to start doing it. And people, I swear, as much as my name is Tom Morgan, I want your business to be transformed in ways that you didn't even know it could be transformed. Right? I want you to be on the leading edge of your market, that you can stand out and people are being like, why, how, what are you doing? Because you consulted a real person, a real guy who has worked in the trenches, who has learned this stuff, who is excited to see those light bulbs go off in people's heads, and want to teach these tools and explain these tools and show you how they work. I want you guys to be on that cutting edge. I do. I want you guys to win. So if you're ready to tap into what lean can do for you, you have to ask yourself the question, are you ready to tap into the power of what it can do for you? I'm going to give you an answer. You can't afford not to. So I have to ask you, what's the value in all this? Before I ask you that, I have to say, are you ready to tap into the power of what Lean can do for you? The answer is you can't afford not to, because this will save you thousands of dollars. It will improve your output. It'll improve your profit. It'll build a culture that you just can't even comprehend right now, the strength of what that culture can do for you. So when you look at this, well, you say, well, what's the value in this? If you were to bring in an online bring in a Lean consultant for 4 to 6 weeks, they could charge you anywhere between $15,000 and $40,000 for that course. To come in there, train you, have a little small group in a conference room, do some little exercises with you and whatnot. And then they're gone. And they hope that when they leave, they're like, okay, you have been designated that you can make a Lean transformation. So, or you could take yourself, you could take some of your team, your leadership team, or your employees. You could send them to a local community college and take the belt classes, yellow belt, green belt, black belt. You can see the prices I have listed on this slide. So all said and done, you're looking anywhere between $19,000, $44,000 expense just on a Lean transformation attempt. You can also take some online classes. You can search high and low and maybe find an online class somewhere anywhere between $99 and $799. So let's keep in mind, I'm not an IT savvy techno guy. I'm not a consultant. I'm a normal guy that has a small business, that has done this for a day job, that has seen the benefits of a transformation, and have seen some things that have been done right and some things that have been done wrong that I want to do right, but maybe my leadership team didn't empower us or allow us to do such. But I know this stuff works, and like I said, I'm just a real guy. I can connect with you. I can take the time to answer your questions. And so you're saying, okay, Tom, yeah. But how much is that going to cost? Well, I'm going to be offering a course, and it's going to be $297. In that 3-segment mini course, it's going to be an introduction to Lean, well more versed than what this free intro is. Some expanded 5S techniques, breaking down all the 5 S's and different exercises, different things you can do for the different and various markets. We're going to also dig deeper into the 7 waste identifications, and what those look like for different markets and how to eliminate those. We're also going to be looking at some expanded value-added activity definitions, how to capitalize on value-added activities and get rid of those non-value-added activities. And remember, I am not a consultant. I know where the low-hanging fruits are. I know how to capture those. I know how to start saving money right away by implementing these techniques, but even more so, how to start that cultural change. This isn't a flavor of the week deal. This isn't just a fad. This is information that can lead you on a journey to Lean transformation, saving you thousands and thousands of dollars without having to spend thousands and thousands of dollars. Again, $297 versus $19,000 to $45,000 is a big deal. I've implemented some of these same techniques in my own small business that I have outside of my day job. I have a woodworking business, and it is very successful. I have, in the last 5 years that it's been in business, I have doubled my revenue year over year over year consistently, using these techniques, because they're real, they work, and it doesn't take rocket science to figure this stuff out. So I am here to help. So when you look at it, you look at the 19,000 versus, or 19,000 to 44,000 for a consultant. versus 297 that I'm offering from a real guy, real person that talks in plain English. I'm not going to throw all these big, long terms on you, because the big, long terms, they don't fix things. Okay. It's normal talk, normal doing, simple things that will cause transformation. You'll learn techniques that can save your business thousands of dollars and more. So by signing up for my 3-week mini course, once I launch this, I'll have a 5-day window. You're also going to receive several free things. One of them being a 5S exercise that you can do with your team and your staff. And it's really, I have done this exercise to over 600 people. And every time, no lie, every time I do this, light bulbs just go bing, bing, bing. And they start getting 5S just like that. That's going to be one of the free things. There's going to be free 5Y template that you can use. We're going to have a 7 waste chart that you can use and show to your team the value added activities that we can do. Process flow mapping we're going to get into. Line balancing if you have a production line of any sort. We're even going to start getting into Kanbans. And what a Kanban is kind of a help the flow of inventory and goods, and also dig deeper into Kaizens. So I just ask that you think about this, that you consider where you're spending your dollars and how you're spending your dollars and what value that brings to you. And really, when you consult any learning or consulting firm or anything like that, any learning exercise, even if it's curriculum from a community college, you have to ask yourself, the person that's offering that information, what do they have vested in you? Where is their concern? Are they looking at closing the deal, selling you a product, and then bailing? I'm not that guy. I'm the guy that is concerned about businesses having access to this information at a very affordable price that can take your business and just take it to the moon. So I thank y'all for listening. I appreciate y'all, and I hope you found this very interesting and beneficial to your business. Look forward to seeing you again, and remember, you can streamline your market with simple ideas from me. Y'all have a good day. Bye.